Hi, welcome back, welcome into Cardinal Rose Tarot. I'm all paranoid now about my little sexy top here because I've lost some weight and it's getting a little bit loose. So hopefully I'm not violating any codes of YouTube here, but thank you for being here. Welcome to Cardinal Rose Tarot. My name is Cynthia. If you're new, welcome. And if you're coming back, thank you for being here and for your ongoing support. I'm really excited. I have a lot of new subscribers over the last few days. I would say the last 5 days or so. So thank you so much for being here, for subscribing to my channel, for checking out my work. I'm very honored, really excited. I love doing this work. If you don't know anything about me, you can certainly check out my channel's description. I have a lot there. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in addition to being a card reader. I've been reading tarot since I was 15 and I love tarot. It's been a huge part of my life since that time, since I first had my first reading, which blew me away. And then I've also been somebody that has always wanted to be a helping professional, so that's what I became. I got into at the bachelor's level, working in the shelter system, then working in the community mental health system. And now I'm in private practice. I never saw myself going into private practice. I was always going to work for an employer, but the pandemic really changed things for me, made me realize at some point that I was too burned out to keep working for full-time for an employer. And most social work positions are full-time. It's hard to find part-time social work positions, and when you do, they're usually, because they're weird shifts, like graveyard shifts and stuff. So I decided I'll give it a shot. I'll go into private practice and see if that helps me be able to save my career and keep working and not have a complete breakdown, because that's where I was headed with all of the stress of the pandemic. Being a social worker and nurse and doctor, it was very difficult at that time, right? So anyways, that's just a little bit of my background about me. I love doing clinical social work, and I also love doing esoteric work. So I've tried to start just, my own business where I can do all of those things. And there's a little bit, you have to watch out for some, that I'm not trying to convince my mental health clients of anything to do with tarot and vice versa, right? I have to keep those worlds pretty separate unless my client happens to be also very interested in tarot. So let's just get into this reading now, because one thing that I wanted to try to remember to start doing is ask for and pick up on a little bit of a theme before I come on to do the layout. And that's what I remembered to do today. And I pulled 4 cards ahead, and this is the theme. What I'm picking up on is somebody that has lived or lives in the Southern Hemisphere, and has dealt with some corruption. And what's coming through is possibly Central and South America here, okay, with this frog in the reverse and the soldier in the reverse, along with these palm trees and nopal in being here. Okay, we're speaking about the Southern Hemisphere. We're also speaking about environmentalism ethics or social justice ethics around exploitation of the global South is what I'm picking up on here. So this could be happening for you on a personal level, that you're becoming tapped in to the awareness that you and your community and your resources are being exploited in some way. Or with the soldier in reverse, we're also talking about political persecution, possibly, for somebody in the Southern Hemisphere. I'm picking up on land use and land rights. And so a lot of, it's not a secret that the global South has been exploited by the Western world, right? For capitalism, for resources, for earth-based, mineral rights, acreage rights, forestation, deforestation, agriculture, right? All of these issues that have been huge charged issues in the global South for a long time are in play for this reading. So let's get into it. Let's see what wants to come out. about this for you. I have a channeled message that came through, and it's in the Obsidian Mirror podcast several months ago. And I feel like in the title it says something about trigger warning if you or one of your ancestors has experienced political persecution. And I'm feeling that reading and channeled message might have relevance for you. So if you want to scroll back in the Obsidian Mirror podcast, if this is resonating with you, that reading might have meaning as well in it. What is this about, Spirit? What's happening what is this collective message trying to tell us about the global South, about land use or land and mineral rights, about deforestation, about psychedelic healing possibly is here with this frog. Plant spirit medicine is coming through. Plant spirit medicine, somebody might be interested in ayahuasca or iboga, or doing plant spirit medicine trips, like travel for healing is coming through. And this with this San Pedro, right, with this nopal, with this cactus, that could be that we're talking about plant spirit medicine and plant spirit healing. You are somebody who feels... Wait, just give me a second here, actually. You are somebody that is doing this work to protect the environment and to protect the planet. You're very concerned about the exploitation of the planet for resources, for women, for indigenous, for you're very concerned and active and involved in these concerns in some way. You may be a water protector. You may be a land defender. You might be somebody that goes and puts your body on the line to protect it from people that are trying to invade and basically like steal up lands, steal up resources from people. Nestle comes to mind, like they're trying to buy up all the world's natural water, right? That's very scary. And then charge people for water. We're all of this planet. Water should be a right? Water is life. You might be a water protector. And you feel that it's essential and important and it's a heart-based, like we're out of alignment. We're not, your perception is that we've gotten disconnected from our hearts, that the masculine pole has gotten disconnected from its heart, that patriarchy has exploited the planet, and that individualism has gotten out of control. That's what your concerns are as a viewer, for if you're catching this reading. You are the vulnerability that we're facing as a collective of people that cares about these topics is something greater. We're worried about that. We're worried that there's no, like, where is something greater that can come in and right this, such as, a revolution where we do away with capitalism and, institute something more that's not so harmful to the planet, right? You're concerned about our fate, right? That's what it is, straight up. That's your concern. You're worried that we're being trapped by a police state, by a governing body like Israel that's not observing any of the international laws, that being trapped by a power abuse and power abusers is the very heart of this reading, and it's what you're concerned with in this collective. And the feeling is that we're never going to arrive. We're never going to get there. We're tired and exhausted from the work we've been doing to save this planet. And we're up against powers that are power abusers that feel stronger than us, right? That's your concern if you're in this collective. You have realized that being breadcrumbed by power abusers is not the way. Being thrown pennies, being thrown a bone, you've realized that the equal balance of this planet and of nature is out of balance, that it's out of alignment, that there's abuse of the feminine wisdom and of feminine knowledge and of feminine mysteries is what's coming through here. This could be something like the Rosicrucians or the Freemasons, and whether we think the Freemasons are out to do good for this planet or whether we think that the Freemasons are part of a big conspiracy that tries to control this planet. Where things are headed is a further examination of all of the different illusions that are being presented to us in this collective. Tell us more about that with the Seven of Cups and where things are going. What's the Seven of Cups in the outcome position? The power abusers, this Emperor card in the reverse, they're losing hope. They're trying to prevent their own judgment day. They're working very hard to prevent their own judgment day, okay? They're doing everything that they can think to do to continue to uphold the illusion that they have created is what's coming through. They're very concerned about the public and people with less power finding one another, aligning and working together. They're very, very concerned about this, and they're doing everything they can, including abusing esoteric practices in order to do this. This is not going to be for everybody, but if you're someone who's into looking deeper into conspiracy, this reading is going to be your jam. These people are afraid of they feel their control slipping away, and so they're going to do everything they can to create illusion, including abusing esoteric practices to keep themselves in power. They're very afraid of people with less power, the average person, figuring this out as it's starting to happen. They're very concerned about this and wanting to create the illusion further. What else about the Seven of Cups? Spiritual people who are working in the upright towards trying to create a new reality, a new earth, an end of patriarchy, an end of abusive capitalistic structures that abuse the little guy. There's no conflict for you. To you, it's obvious. To you, a spiritual community that wants for a new earth and a new beginning and an end of this old way of these power abusers, that's in alignment with the teachings of Jesus, okay? You're not worried. You're not in conflict about that. You don't doubt that. You know the truth, and that is your truth. You understand the spiritual truth about generosity and love and the Good Samaritans and like all of the lessons from the Bible that are about, Jesus was a radical. He was a revolutionary. He was brown. Okay, this is what you're not going to be confused. You're tapped in. You're not going to fall for the illusion, is what it's saying. So now what I want to do is pull advice cards like I've been doing after we get the whole story out. We've got the story here now. So now what's some advice for us that are the truth seekers in this collective that have started to see beyond the illusion and feel that there's something bigger going on regarding conspiracy to control us and control the planet and control natural resources and keep us fighting with each other, right? What's some advice for us now as we confront these difficult truths? What is the advice that we need to know? What's some advice for us that we need to know here? On the split, and I'm going to take it, is the Cayman and Poppy in the reverse. I'm going to take this too because I can feel it. The Bee and Pomegranate in the upright. And I'm going to take this one too. The Quail and Gooseberry. These are our advice cards. I can feel that these are our advice cards. I'm actually going to read from the book as well. And pull one more here from the top. The Turtle and Coriander in the reverse. So I've got all of these cards here to read from the guidebook about. The Cayman and Poppy, Dreams in the reverse. These are advice messages for us. Your head is in the clouds. Instead of dwelling in fantasy, think about the practical steps you can take to achieve your wildest dreams. What have I dreamt about recently? How can I make my dreams a reality? So just stay with your feet on the ground and check out the last live I did. That might have messages for you because it was talking about getting grounded and staying grounded. So that's going to be important. The Bee and Pomegranate. Bees are very communally minded creatures. They're very wise. They're very divine feminine affiliated, along with this pomegranate. So it's saying embrace the feminine pole. Embrace our community heart-based work. Embrace the feminine within us and embrace the feminine in the world. The feminine is bringing the truth, not the masculine right now. At least for this energy, right? I'll read the card though, just for kicks. That's just channeled what I picked up on from it. I know, Joey, you want to be given some treats, it looks like. The Bee and Pomegranate calls us to create with purpose. Bees are known for their hard work and industriousness. The phrase busy as a bee derives from Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, written in the 14th century. Pomegranates are tough-skinned and difficult to open, but once their exterior is pierced, hundreds of seeds burst forth, signifying fertility and abundance. You are at your most productive. Take care to ensure that your labor fulfills you. Great advice. The Quail and Gooseberry. Quail has been coming through a lot for me. So I'm pleased to see Quail here again. What is your message for us, Quail? It's the last card in the deck. Very interesting. Fresh gooseberries are a tempting treat, but pick them without care and you might hurt yourself. Gooseberry bushes are loaded with thorns meant to protect the delicate fruit within. Similarly, the quail anticipates danger by hiding among low-growing vegetation. From its observed perch, it keeps careful watch, monitoring for predators. The event or outcome you've anticipated is about to occur. Take advantage of your foreknowledge, preparing for what's to come. I love it. That's great advice. And then finally, the turtle and coriander in the reverse. Beware of stagnation. While slow and steady might win the race, standing still gets you nowhere. So what in my life brings me satisfaction? How have I taken the time to express gratitude for what I have? Am I rushing or honoring my own pace? So I think that is a good place to end this reading. Those are good advice cards and questions to be asking yourself through this situation. And I think that's going to do it for this reading. And again, if you like my work, please like and subscribe. Thank you for checking out my work, and I'll see you in the next one.